Everybody, open up your eyes and ears and listen, don't cry. No tears, 'cause Rain Dogs Random Thoughts. Welcome to Random Thoughts. Ray Sean Blyden here. Leave a like, share, and subscribe. A funny thing is, you should check your microphone before you start to record because I had my microphone on and I was not even I didn't even have it turned on. Nonetheless, it's okay. It's okay. It was a good show too. But nonetheless, leave a like, share, and subscribe. I wanted to talk about what people, specifically the mainstream media, are saying that Trump has no right to say black people can identify with the persecution, and that's why we relate to the mugshot T-shirt there. Well, I'm here to tell you that that is 100% fact. The last I checked, I am black as far as I can tell, and I think that makes me an expert, doesn't it not? According to you, you left wingers, you would say you're black. You should know. Oh wait, I guess they would call me an Uncle Tom, huh? Anyway, so I grew up in the Virgin Islands. That's where I'm from, as most of you know, and we didn't really have that type of stuff going on down there. Where I did learn, sadly enough, the American culture was from TV. And so that's where I got the idea of white people are racist against black people, and especially the police officers hating blacks and shooting blacks, and then listening to rap music back then. Many of the rappers talked about that. And so that shaped my mind as to how the white people are in uh, in the United States, the mainland. We didn't have many white people living there when I was growing up. As far as I can remember, there was one white person that, as far as students goes, that I can remember, maybe two or three, but that's about it. You did have a few white teachers. I remember Miss Strong, God rest her soul. She was amazing. Her husband was just horrible. I oh, I did not like him at all. Well, I never met him, but Miss Trump was such a sweet lady, and I know that he used to beat on her. I mean, she'd come in with black eyes. I know, I knew, she couldn't hide it. I could tell. I dislike you very much, Mister Trunk. I don't know your first name, but Miss Sheila Trunk, God rest your soul. I believe she passed, from what I was told. I really loved her. She's one of the sweetest teachers. She was an art teacher. She's one of the sweetest teachers I could ever known. And he's a horrible man. But I'm straying off topic here. So yeah. So I learned that white people were bad from TV. Now I never paid attention to it until I moved to Connecticut. And I was like, oh, as I'm going in to the mainland, I gotta be careful. The police are gonna try to kill me. I was told through the rap music, black people, black men in particular, we don't live past 25. Uh-oh, I don't know about this. And so I landed in Hartford, Connecticut on the south end, which beknownst to me, which, I'm coming from a small island. I don't know the culture. I didn't know that there was a rift or what would you call it? Basically, I can't think of the word right now, but basically on the south side you had Hispanics, mostly Puerto Ricans, and then on the north side you had mostly blacks. And if you lived in the South Side, it'd be like you're invading their territory. And boy, did I learn that lesson. They did not like me at all. For the most part, I mean, they would call me all kinds of names, thick lips, and all kinds of insane things, and would break into my home and my car. And it was just a horrible time. A horrible time. I didn't know, I loved people because in the Virgin Islands, we were brought up to love everyone and don't see the skin color, except the TV was trying to force it down my throat watching U.S. TV because that's what we had because we're U.S. Virgin Islands, and so it would force it down my throat, and so that's why I thought that white people would be racist. But if in my experience, who were racist were Puerto Ricans towards me when I first got there, and the Puerto Ricans from the islands versus the Puerto Ricans in the Connecticut anyway, in Connecticut, it's not the same. They hated the ones that I lived in around. They hated me because I was black. And again, it could be the turf war thing that I shouldn't be living in their territory, whatever. But it was a horrible experience. So even being persecuted that way, I was persecuted from the Puerto Ricans when I first left the mainland. So no wonder. I mean, I'm not the same man as I was then. Someone hated me and they kept hating me and hating me. So guess what? I started to hate the Puerto Ricans as well. I was like, "You're gonna hate me for no reason. I hate you too." And so I started to hate them too. And if that's why, if you listen to some of my rap back then, I didn't outright come out with hate, but I definitely you could hear it in like this one music video called "Exploding Anger." Yeah, you could hear it through that, and other songs too. But I don't really need to mention those. But I was you're gonna hate me, but I'm gonna hate you too. But that's not the way to go. You shouldn't. You should, you know, love them and try to see the best in them, even in the worst of situations, because that's what Jesus expects us to do. We should do that. We really should. But it was very difficult, and I'm human. And if someone hates me, and you're surrounded by that hate day in day out and they're breaking into your home and they're calling you names and saying racist things against you, what else are you going to do? So that's where I was being persecuted by Puerto Ricans. And when I came from the island, I fully expect to be persecuted by white people. That was what I saw on TV. That is what I heard on some of the movies I watched, the rap music I listened to. So it was quite of a shock. In fact, in all the years I've lived here, and that's only ever happened once. This was in Long Island. Well, before I get to Long Island, I did allow the rap music to seep into me. I used to service ATM machines. So picture, you know, I'm in a regular car, regular sedan, and I have a ATM door wide open. So a police officer pulls up on me, a white police officer, and instantly, as he's coming up to me, I quickly jump on the phone with my boss and I'm saying, "There's this racist white police officer. He's trying to arrest me. I'm just trying to do my job." I was like heated. I mean, I'm lucky I didn't get shot because I had my weapon on me because we had that because that was part of the job detail. And police officer got a little defensive. He said, you know, just see it from my point of view. You're here in a sedan and you have this ATM wide open and you have no ID on you. What am I, as far as a work ID, what am I supposed to think? And I'm not racist. I'm here to tell you, white people, don't. If someone black or anyone tried to accuse you of being racist, the last thing you want to do is get defensive and say I'm not racist because you don't need to do it. I know I'm not a racist. I don't need to defend myself. My actions will show that I'm not racist. And I think that's is what Donald Trump does. he don't, they, the media, mainstream media calls him racist left and right, but he knows in his heart he's not racist. He's got many black friends. He's helped out many black people, many black families. He don't need to say, "Hey, man, I'm not racist, man. I'm not." He don't need to do it. He don't need to do it to prove anything to you, because that's what they want. The minute you apologize and you beg and say, "Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't want to be like that," then they tear into you. It gets worse. It reminds me of this tick. Is it a TikToker? I was listening to the watching the Officer Tatum show, and he had this white girl on there. I think she's an influencer, and she got one of her videos went viral because she was using the N word with the A on the end, and people were trying to get her to be canceled, and so she did a video with. At first, it seemed like it was going to be an apology video, but in the end, she paraphrasing it in so much words said she doesn't take anything back and she don't care what you think, and I applaud her for that. Obviously, I don't like her potty mouth. She curses a lot, but other than that, I applaud her for not giving in to the woke disaster. I like that. I like that a lot. So the only, going back to the Long Island thing, the only time I've ever encountered, I mean, this was absolutely unequivocal racism, that besides the Puerto Rican, I'm talking from a white person, and this was even what, I don't know if that, actually, yeah, I could say it was worse than the Puerto Ricans, but the Puerto Ricans were bad too, because obviously I couldn't understand them. They would talk in their language, and I had some Puerto Rican friend, and some Puerto Rican friend would translate and tell me what they were saying. But I was in Long Island. We used to install high speed internet, and I saw a nice diner in Long Island. I don't remember the diner name. It doesn't really matter. I wouldn't mention the name anyways. That's not the point of the story. So I go in there. I buy my bacon, egg, and cheese or whatever, and order some coffee. And so I'm standing in the line to pay for it, and just picture a skinhead, but a muscle. He looks like an Italian muscle head, muscle guy, like huge muscles, skinhead, completely bald, and he's just like staring. You could tell when someone's staring you down, giving you the evil eye. And I'm paying him no mind, so I'm standing in line. I asked if I could have some cream and sugar to the guy checking me out, and the skinhead guy. It's been so long, I don't remember. I'm paraphrasing, but he said, "Get the F out of here, you end with the R." And I look at him like in shock. I didn't respond because I was literally shocked. Like with anger, he was like fuming. You could literally see the foam coming out of his mouth. And so I looked at him, and he got even more. I go, "I'll kill you, you end!" He was like I was like, "Whoa, this guy got a demon in him." It's like a demon possessed this guy. He wanted to literally kill me. No cap. I'm sure. I don't. I usually don't talk like that. I don't even know. How do you? Someone's gonna have to tell me of your generation. How do you get lie out of cap? No cap, no lie. Well, how does lie and cap even? What? Anyway, it doesn't matter. No cap, as your generation would say. I'm trying to appeal to your generation. I'm trying, but no, it was insane. He wanted to kill you. If his coworkers didn't hold him back, I think I wouldn't be here today. I would not be here today. The guy literally wanted to kill me. And that was the first and last time. I've never experienced anything like that before. That was insane. I was really blown away by that. Are you kidding me? You really want to kill me because I'm black? I mean, what, do you want to be a slave owner, or you just hate black people? What have black people done to you that, I mean, and I'm answering my own question. Like, maybe it was a situation like that happened to me, like what the Puerto Ricans did to me when I lived in the South End of Hartford. Maybe they did so much to him, black people, that he built up a hatred for them. You know, because I literally, for the longest time, did not like Puerto Ricans because they hated me so much. and all I could do was dish it back out to them. And I'm not that guy anymore. I don't do that anymore. Not perfect, but I'm not hateful like that. I remember working for, I'm even thinking it's not called Pinkerton anymore. They changed their name. Securitas, I guess the new name is Securitas. But I worked for Pinkerton, and I remember, I didn't have much Black American friends. So if I had a black friend back then, I wanted, to keep them as a friend. And so I remember ML. He was a black Muslim. I didn't notice at the time. This after the fact I found that out, but I didn't know anything about what the Man March was. He invited me to go with him as a friend, and I had no idea that who Louis Farrakhan was. And back then, I didn't call myself conservative. I just had always had the conservative values. Like I always loved President Reagan. I was a fan of his. I remember I used to get into fights and arguments with people at school because they said that Ronald Reagan was the devil. They said if you I guess they said if you look, I forgot his middle name, but they said all three of his names has six letters in it. So they said if you shaved his head, there would be 666 on the back of his head. And I used to get really mad and fight about that. And so anyway, um, I go to this Million Man March, and I was really legitimately having a great time. And I remember what they did to me when how Democrats like to get out the vote. So they didn't even give me a choice. Literally, I'm standing in the line. They're saying, well, first someone came up to me and said, are you registered to vote? I said, no. They thrust me into a line. So here I am standing in this line, and they didn't even give me a choice of whether or not I wanted to be independent or Democrat or Republican. They already checked on there, you're Democrat, and they made me fill it out. And that was the one and only time I became a Democrat, but I switched it immediately. I don't know how long after, but I never voted as a Democrat. I immediately switched it because I didn't identify with that. So I'm standing among the men, and Louis Farrakhan goes up on the stage, and it didn't take more than 5 minutes to realize this guy has hatred in his heart. He hates white people. He wants to kill. He wants them dead. Is what it seemed like to me. So I walked out of there. I was like, no, and so ML didn't like that. And this is when I found out that he's Muslim, because he turned out to be my supervisor. And what happened, he would have me doing all the long tours, and these were huge buildings, you know tower number one, tower number two, and the whole old building, as him and his Muslim friends would sit there and study the Quran and laugh and have a good time. And back then, boy, did I have a temper. I had a temper, and I had a temper because of my upbringing. Lots of no long story that whenever I get a therapist, I need to iron that out with them. But yeah, I build up so much anger, and yeah, I pretty much punched him in the face, and I got fired. So that's what happened. And if ML ever sees this video, I'd like to ask your forgiveness for that, because I definitely, what you try to do to me, he tried to turn my other friends and coworkers against me by, because I was always, taught to help you, especially your friends. And he was a friend in need. He was to give me the story about not having anywhere to stay. So I offered him to stay with me and give him my key. And so he went around and he told them that I was trying to hit on him and I was being gay and all this kind of stuff. He smeared me like the Daily Wire did to Candace Owen. He was smearing me. And so I've forgiven you in my heart for that, ML. I've forgiven you. For the longest I've held a grudge on that, but I've forgiven you afford doing that because yeah, I don't have any time for that in my heart anymore. I love my church, Second Baptist Church. Love it. We just went on a deep sea fishing trip, and you know, it was a great time. I mean, my friend, one of my friends, poor guy, he threw up the whole time, so it was not fun for him. But I'm hoping that Steve and I from church, we planned it together. We and came out really well. I'm hoping it becomes a tradition, and next year we can do it again. But yeah, the reason I found out about it, a friend of mine that we grew apart for sure. You know, I can say it out loud, and it doesn't bother me. It used to bother me before, but sometimes these things happen. You grow apart, you know, and I don't hold it against him. I mean, we still follow each other on Snapchat, but really and watch each other's stories, but we really don't communicate anymore at all. You know, like I used to. The one time invited me to go deep sea fishing, I used to invite him every year. After that, for maybe 2 or 3 times, but I get the hint really quickly. And if someone doesn't want to do something, I'll ask twice, twice or 3 times, and if they don't want to do it, then I just say, okay, fine. I'm not gonna try to force you. It's just like I helped a friend out. This I don't like. What's the word? I don't like. What do you call it when when you recommend someone to work for your job? I can't think of the name. Refer. Or I don't know. Someone will leave it in the comment. I referred a friend, JB, and he lasted about 5 weeks. It wasn't for him, and that's fine. He thought I would be mad at him, but why would I be mad at you? It's not for you. It's not for you. But what I don't like, RT, he said he's down for that, and so I go to my boss and I'm trying to stick my neck out for him, and so did JB. RT said he was gonna call me up. It's been at least 2 or 3 weeks since he said that. But see, I'm the type of person I don't. If someone doesn't want to do something, I'm not going to beg. I remember I used to be that guy when I had a low self-esteem and I didn't want to lose a friend. I would be that guy who would be like trying everything to not like my dogs. You know, Chip, he wants everyone to love him. He's my chocolate lab. Labs want everyone to love them and every dogs to love them. And if the even, like Chip, I don't understand him. This dog always wants to attack him, but every time we go hiking, he wants to befriend this dog. Well, that's how I was. I didn't want anyone to hate me. I would want everyone to love me. I would do everything to fight and keep friendships, and almost essentially beg. And so I don't do that anymore. Like RT, he, would I would make plans and he would say yes. So with GA, he would he would always do that. It would get me so mad because why just say no. Just don't give me the high hopes of all right, you're gonna um you're gonna do something and you don't do it. All of these people I literally forgave them. I forgive them in my heart. I don't forget, but I've forgiven them in my heart. Truly, have forgiven them because what the sense of holding this stuff in, it just eats away at you. It's not even who I am anymore. I love where I am right now. Things could still always room to grow and get better. Especially like I'm not sure if I told the story about my chocolate lab. He got hit by a car that past weekend, the end of May when we had that 3-day weekend. That was tough. I mean, when I turned around and saw his lifeless body lying in the street, I was in shock. But I'm happy to report that thank God, God definitely played a hand in that because he turned out to have no broken bones. he no internal anything is going on with him. He just got banged up. He's finally healed. I still don't trust bringing him hiking just yet. So I've been testing him out in the backyard, having him run, and so far he's been doing good. So I anticipate in another few weeks I'm gonna finally take him back out on the trails. But yeah, that was tough to get through. I feel like the old time random thoughts is so how I used to do talk about personal stuff. Um, but getting back on track, this is why I can understand, when President Trump said that blacks can relate to him because we were persecuted. I can see it. And again, I was persecuted most so from Puerto Ricans, and it, you know, even without becoming a Christian, I've always believed in God, and I eventually knew it was wrong. I can't hate an entire race for, even though it was many of them hated me, you can't hate an entire race. That's just not the way to go. And so I'm glad that I overcame that, because if I had stuck with that mentality, many Puerto Ricans who I consider were family and best friends, I would have never had that relationship with them. And if so, I'm glad I didn't allow the hatred to stay with me for the rest of my life. That would have been horrible. And so I just can't relate to someone who can. Well, I guess I can relate, but you need to let it go. You need to not hold on to that hate. If someone hates you, hating them back, because you need to repent of that. Repent, and you'll feel better. You really will. So I am definitely pleased to say that many black people are waking up. I just can't understand how many black people don't understand that the Democrats are the original race haters. I mean, look at Joe Biden. Look at his history. He truly comes from that era, and he's a racist. Many things that he said is racist. I mean, and I've done shows on that. The way when he talked about his kids being raised in a jungle, a fever jungle, whatever he said, or if I'm because I vote for Trump that I'm not black. Well, I guess I'm not black, Joe the pen poopy Biden, because I'm voting for Trump again. This will be my third time. I'm voting for him again. The Democrats, they don't understand this slippery slope that they're going down. They really don't. They shouldn't have opened up this can of worms, because they're persecuting someone for something that they haven't done. Now, some people might say, "Oh, well, you're happy for that Hunter Biden is he got convicted on his charges. Why not Trump?" Well, it's not the same thing. The charges for Hunter Biden, he's a an addict, a crackhead who, what do you call it? He forced he put false information on the gun application so he can be a gun owner. He did things with his taxes as well, falsifying that. So it's not the same thing. He has legitimate felonies. Trump didn't doesn't have any felonies. They try to make these charges that were expired. It's just insane the hoops that they're jumping through because they don't want him to be president. And I generally leave vengeance in the hands of God. I'm not saying President Trump needs to be vengeance like Batman, but he needs to clean house. And I mean clean house this time. He needs to not just say you're going to drain the swamp. You need to drain the swamp. You need advisors like Vivek Ramaswamy, Vivek to help you do incorporate some of his visions as far as getting rid of many of these agencies that are embedded in the FBI and all these other ones. You need to get rid of them. So yeah, 2020, 2024, 2016 is going to be 2024, the year that we need to straighten things up and clean house. I mean, just on my YouTube feed, you can see many black people like myself. And this has never happened before. That's how you know something is stirred up. They went too far. There's so many black channels like myself who are on the conservative side or on who's voting for Trump. There's so many of them, and it was never like that before. So they've awakened a sleeping giant. In fact, I would say I'm seeing more black people on YouTube that's conservative than white people. And that's insane in my feed, and that's never happened before. So I'm very pleased to see that that's happening. Now, the question is, are we going to actually go out there and vote? We need to not talk about it, and we need to do it this time because then it's not hyperbole when they say that the country's at stake. It really is. And they're going to do everything. If you thought that they cheated in 2020, well, wait until you get a load of them now because what do you think they want open borders? They want all these millions and millions and millions of illegal people to help push them across the finishing line. As some, I don't remember who said this or where I heard this, but it's we have we have to make it too big to rig, basically. Too big to rig. That's what we need to have. That's what needs to happen. It needs to be too big to rig. There's no other way around it. So if you like this setting, you like me going back to talking about some personal stuff, I'll know by the thumbs up if I don't see, or the comments. If I don't see anything, I'll assume that maybe I'll stick with the new formula, no cap. But yeah, leave a like, share, and subscribe. And Trump 2024 is what we should. Speaking of which, Biden needs to be impeached. You got Mayor Garland. He he's defying the subpoena. This the transcript doesn't give the full story as to why. How could Trump be convicted? Could be impeached for classified documents, but Mr. Depends over here, he's an elderly man, didn't know what he was talking about. Well, let's listen to the tapes. Why he's concealing the tapes from us? We want to know. He should be impeached. You should stop trying to defend this guy. He could barely. I mean, he looks like a zombie. You see him out there for the Juneteenth thing that they had. Everyone is moving around, dancing to music, and he's like this, like a zombie, like this. I mean, what is that? What is that? Anyway, that's all I got for you. Leave a like, share, and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one. Dogs, random thoughts. Ray dogs, random thoughts. Ray dogs, random thoughts. Ray, here we go. The year's ready for the show. I got nothing for y'all. Just open up your ears and your eyes and you will, girl. What I got to tell ya, you don't wanna hear that.